First, I want to hear from Brett Swanson, again, a lawyer with us who's been busy, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about the cases she's working on, as well as the chain of command issues. So if you have a problem, or maybe you don't know you have a problem, Brett will help you identify whether or not you do have a problem. Who do you go to, right? Do you run and call the superintendent? Do you call a lawyer, or do you do something else entirely? So Brett, welcome.
Thank you. And just talking about the chain of command, this is a very overwhelming time for a lot of people. And the question is, who do I contact? Who do I get in contact with to address my child's issues? And the answer is there's still a lot of people that are there for you. So the key, as you all know, to becoming a partner in your child's education is navigating the process and finding people to help you navigate that process. This issue is something that you can take with you outside, after all of this is over, after coronavirus has left and we're back in school for the, in the future, you can use these steps. So during the time when you're not face-to-face with teachers, who do you ask? So let's start with the teachers. These are your most direct line of communication. They have the most information about the day-to-day problems that your child has had, behavior issues, routines, IEP implementations. These are the people you are probably speaking with most. So keep your teachers updated with what your students are struggling with. And this is what I'm encouraging all of my clients to do. And they're getting a lot of good responses in return. Even if they can't directly help you, keeping teachers in the loop will create a smooth transition back once students do go back, hopefully in the fall, but whenever that is. In the same way that you're keeping track of your child's progress, now that you have Mary's data sheet and things like that, keep teachers in the loop too, even if it's just one way, even if it's just you informing teachers, you can be the one to provide that data. Depending on your relationship with a teacher, you might be able to request a meeting. Some of my clients are having success requesting a Zoom meeting. Of course, it is district dependent and it's certainly not a promise or guarantee, but it certainly can't hurt to reach out for more. There are also lots of places where you're probably communicating with teachers. This goes for the regular school year as well, even when we're not quarantined. These things are text, Google Voice, Dojo, other options. These communications can easily get lost and lose context after a while. So I have parents come to me and they show me communications that they've had with their teachers over Dojo. And we lose context of, well, what did you mean by that? What did the teacher mean? So those screenshots will eventually lose context. So here's our new quarantine and post-quarantine practice. It's email, email, email. Memorialize all of your text messages in email. Because you're not meeting with teachers face-to-face, this will reinforce the conversation that you had because they'll see it a second time over email. What that can look like if you're confused is just saying, this is what we talked about over text. This is my interpretation of the conversation. By articulating that, you'll have a great record of what you talked about. This keeps everyone informed and accountable, and it helps your lawyers as well. So it helps me, and I always tell my clients to keep records in email. This is also a good thing to keep, as I said, after quarantine. It's a good practice to implement. Now, who is above the teachers in the chain of command? And this is important. It's the administrators. And so whenever you email a teacher, always include an administrator. Why is that important? It's important because the school can't know how to help your child, or if there's an issue, if administrators don't know, and schools will hold you accountable to that. So let's make it easy for them to solve the problem as best as they can. So CC any administrator you can think of when you have an issue. So who are these people? One person you can CC on communications is a principal. They'll be able to closely understand the teacher's abilities and their abilities to implement the IEP. You probably have a relationship with the principal as well, so this can bridge that gap. You should always make sure that the principal is aware of the problem going on in the classroom, above the teacher as well. So making sure he or she is included. Another person on the chain of command could be the special education director. Make sure that that person is in the know, and that person, as a part of the IEP team, is aware of the issues going on. And by CCing them, you're also holding them accountable. Don't feel intimidated to see these staff members. It is their job. They want to hear the problems. And we want them to help you and to keep everyone accountable. You can also look into CCing the Director of Pupil Services and including them on that chain. The top of the chain of command is generally the superintendent and the school board. Of course, when things escalate, you can reach out and request that such a person be at meetings. But the other people that I mentioned before, by including them in those conversations, you'll really create a back and forth, and if nothing else, a record of things you talked about, problems you had on certain dates at specific times. It'll show that you've done your part by looping everyone in, doing everything you can. And if they're not able to program for you, you have proof that you spoke with them. So remember to capture the materials all the way from conversations. That could be phone calls, text messages. When we return to school, that can be hallway conversations with teachers, with any staff. Memorialize it in an email and CC all of the administrators that you can think of in order to make sure that you're getting your voice heard and that your student is getting as much help as possible. So CC that chain of command and keep on documenting things. The school, again, won't know what's happening in your child's education if they're not clued in from when these problems are happening. It will make your job easier. It makes my job easier. So don't give them an opportunity to not support your student by saying, hey, we didn't know. So keep everyone looped in. And if anyone has any questions on chain of command people or things that you can do to reach out to those people, you can let us know. But for the most part, the main takeaway is quarantine, and after quarantine, email everyone, CC everyone, the more the better.
Cool. Good advice. Great advice. Thanks, Brett. I think that's it. Just written request, document everything, email, for sure. Brett, what are some common new cases you're seeing now? So in addition to the old ones, like what are some issues that you're seeing right now?
A lot of people are, of course, looking into how they're getting their services on virtual things now. So if a student misses, if they need a speech or reading help and they're able to do that over Zoom, some districts have initiated that. And then, we're having problems where then they're not getting those services. Those are some new things coming up. Trying to think of some other things, but lots of new cases based on, circumstances of being home and, people are trying to give the services, but if your school says they can give you the services, then you should hold your school accountable and make sure that you're reaching out to all of the people on your IEP team to say, hey, what's going on? And that's what, at least for my former or my current clients, that's the most feedback I'm getting from them is no one from my IEP team is answering me. And how do I get in contact with them? And so reach out. If that's when you have to go beyond the teacher. Those are moments where you've given a lot of outreach. It's time to go for someone else on the IEP team. So you keep adding to that CC list until someone responds to you, and it's, that's the job. Another thing that we're seeing is parents are having time to review their IEPs. So I encourage anyone here who has an IEP or another child who has an IEP, sit down, take some time, review the IEP. You can send it to us. We're doing a free IEP review. And, we can see while we have the time off, while you're sitting at home, think about ways that you can get services for things that weren't implemented before coronavirus and all of these things occurred, before school was out. What were you missing in the past, and how can you get compensatory education to supplement that to use it in the future? So getting a lot of people taking some time, sitting down with those IEPs and looking for the past things that we can get some support for.
Have you seen some of the feedback from teachers and administrators online in response to our offering to review IEPs?
Yeah, people are not enjoying the fact that we're helping in that way, and that's okay. But it's important that parents know that we're here to help, and we're offering those services because we know you're struggling and because we know this is a really overwhelming process. But while you have that time, while you're at home with your students, take some time and talk to them about how many times a week they were getting services, and you might find out they never were getting them at all. And so we're here to help. We're here to give you support. We're here to review IEPs. And if people have problem with that, then, that's okay, because we're here to help. And I think the parents who we're helping really know that, and we appreciate them.
Cool. Yeah. And also, we're here to work with the schools as well. So it's not, adversarial at all unless it has to be. Right now, we're just there to help parents understand what their rights are and to help communicate with the school, things that parents may not be able to communicate themselves. So, all right, Brett, thanks so much. Great job. Thank you.